Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, iTunes, and more, because I'm on a happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And so my show's about hope and happiness with topics and guests to that end. And I'm so delighted that we are not only on this CNBC News radio channel, it is the #1 talk station in the Inland Empire, covering millions of households here and streaming to over 100 nations. And I need to thank all the guys that support me, including Rick in the Morning, who automates my, I was going to say back end, but that didn't, who does all my automating, as well as Mike Lundgren and Joe Pagano, Mark Westwood, station manager, Fred Lundgren, station owner. Thank you so much for all you do to support this show. Because I also found out that I am the #1 talk show at the 8 a.m. hour. And that is super fabulous, since I was promoted to this morning show not that long ago. I believe June, July, August, September, October. Wow, I'm already in 5 months in the morning. But thank you so much for supporting me and continuing to listen to me, especially after such a phenomenal show before me, Stephanie Miller's. And I hope you do keep it here at KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. And today is October the 26th, and it is National Pumpkin Day, which is to be expected. Halloween is around the corner. It is also National Chicken Fried Steak Day. In keeping with the theme of my deliciousness of life, one of the things that we get to do as human beings is enjoy the taste of really great food. So I use this as an opportunity to give you permission to have chicken fried steak today, whether it's on your diet or not. All right. It's also the National Day of the Deployed. And that's an important day. It's our day to say thank you to all military serving outside of the U.S. and to their families who keep things running at home in their absence. And so thank you from Dr. Marissa and all of my listeners to any military that's listening now, or if you're related to someone in the military, thank you for your service. And still hoping for a day when you get to stay at home, because we'll have peace, no war. All right. And finally, it is the day of Worldwide Howl at the Moon Night. So if you are so inclined, and the Worldwide Howl at the Moon Night is not just about having your fill of unnerving goose flesh. It's associated with animal welfare, specifically that of the wolf, the non-domesticated defender of the wild. It creates awareness about groups that work with wolf conversation. So happy Howl at the Moon Night to you. All right. And a big shout out to all the fabulous people I've been meeting at the Newport Beach Film Festival. It continues. Yesterday I met great people. I saw a great film called Deadly Cuts out of Ireland. And there's actually 6 Irish films at the very diversity-friendly Newport Beach Film Festival. And speaking of diversity-friendly, please do come and join me tomorrow night, Wednesday, October 27th, because I will be introducing the highly acclaimed, can't wait to see it, fabulous film 1 Second, Academy Award nominated director Yimou Zhang. And that movie will start at 8:15 at the Triangle Starlight Cinema in Newport Beach. And the party, which I think is better than the opening and closing night. Don't tell Greg Schwenk I said that. He's the executive director of the fabulous, inclusive, phenomenal, celebrating life film festival that I have the honor of being a multiple year Chinese Spotlight film sponsor. So that, by the way, is why I did not enter my short film into this film festival, because of conflict of interest. But I do love introducing the films every year. This year is going to be amazing. So don't delay. Go to www.newportbeachfilmfest.com and then use my Asian Oprah giveaway code in the promo code, and you'll get a discount, China21. And they're close to sold out. So don't delay. I'd love to see you on the red carpet. That's Wednesday, October 27th. And I'll see you there and get a little soundbite with you and just come up to me and say, I heard you on the radio or I saw you on your YouTube. It's one of the great stops on the joyride of my life, and I'd love to share it with you. All right. And now when we come back, for the rest of the show, I am spotlighting a delightful interview with someone who I've known for a very long time. We were both hosts at United Broadcasting Network for years. We're friends, and she is on Drew Barrymore's show this season. I'm so happy and excited for her, and I thought she's a dating coach. She's had very little success with me, but she has great advice that I'm sure will be successful with you. So when we come back, we're going to spotlight interview Damona Hoffman and Getting the Love That You Want. Here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, NBC News Radio Channel, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, and CNBC News Radio Channel, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere, including my YouTube channel, where if you free subscribe, you will get a notification. It'll be your alarm clock in the morning to get up at 8, or hopefully you're already in your car if you need to be at work, and you get to tune into the show about hope and happiness and enjoy a lot of my 500 some shows now on that playlist, as well as stuff of me singing. I had a nice compliment. Somebody said, "Oh my God, I heard you singing. You're a celebrity." I don't know if it's because of singing, but thank you. But you can enjoy that playlist, as well as, of course, my headliner interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, and Quincy Jones. So without further ado, here's Damona Hoffman in Getting the Love You Want.
Today, I brought back one of my first co-hosts when we started the sexual healing, and her name is Damona, better known as Mrs. D, and she is the online dating expert extraordinaire. And since, it is my show and I do some things like online dating, or as she told me to last time, I thought I would bring her back on because she's coming back to UBN, and I also wanted to she hosts her own show. She won Oh, no. She's the first dating coach in California to be certified by the International Dating Coaching Association. She's been nominated as iDate's Best Dating Coach of 2014 and 2016.
So
wow,
I can still
ahead
use
of the
those votes,
time.
people.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Couple more weeks
all
still
right.
to vote.
Well, we'll let them know how to do that. She has made hundreds of media appearances on a variety of outlets, including SiriusXM, Fox, NBC, CBS, and is the host and dating expert of the new FYI TV series, #Black Love, as well as Dates and Mates radio show on UBN. Without further ado, please welcome back to my show, Mrs. D.
Yeah.
So good
It's
to
a
have
lot
you
of applause.
back.
Thank you.
You're
I'm not used to this.
welcome.
When you're filming a reality show, it's just people and cameras. There's no audience.
I bet.
This is lovely.
Yes, well, you are appreciated here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with, I promised my listeners that we would talk about online dating. So you're the expert. What are your 3 top strategic nuggets on how to be successful in online dating?
I'm glad you said strategic.
Yes.
Because I think that is the root of a lot of people's problem with online dating.
Root of evil?
The
Oh,
root
no.
of evil.
Okay.
And especially with Tinder, not that Tinder's evil, but with the advent of Tinder and a lot of dating apps that are free and make it really easy for people to just hop online and see what's out there, people don't put the same amount of focus in it that they do into other aspects of their life where they're successful. And then they say, why didn't I get any results? Why didn't anybody write to me? Why didn't I go on any dates? But if you put that same amount of focus into your love life that you do everything else that goes right in your life, you will meet the person that you want to meet.
Okay.
So
that's your first tip, is to put work in it. And before you go on to tip number 2,
that wasn't even my first tip. That was the preamble.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I got to stop, though, because I got to put the moose on the table before we go further, because this is a fundamental thing that I hear and I also believe, but, sometimes I have BS belief systems that don't work for me. And online dating has been one of those areas where falling in love and having a romance should not be so much work. And you're saying that it is something we have to be more disciplined at or work at it. It's like, but what about the magic of meeting someone without having to be so strategic around it? So just a fundamental philosophy question.
I would say we are living in a different time right now, and we're in a time where people want options. And it used to be that the majority of people would marry someone that was in their social circle. So you didn't move out of your hometown. You married somebody that either lived next door to you or went to church. And there have been studies on this where it was the majority of how the majority of people met. And then as technology has changed, as people have moved out of cities and moved away and had the ability to build lives in outside of their primary community,
right.
They wanted more. They strive for more. And so when you want the perfect relationship that checks all of these boxes and he makes this much money and he's this tall and this handsome, you have to look at it from a strategic point of view and put in that same effort that you would when you want something else successful to happen in your life.
So it's just a necessary a necessary change for the times is what you're saying.
That's what I think.
Okay.
And I think it's a wonderful opportunity. I don't think it has to feel like work. And I think especially as a woman where we didn't have a lot of options before, it was like you just married whoever your family said that's who you marry, even outside of an arranged marriage culture. That was the norm in America for many, many years. And now we have the ability to choose and to select and to find someone who's going to really match us and who's going to love us unconditionally and is going to make us happy for potentially a lifetime.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying you've convinced me, but good answer. Good answer. Okay, so now I'm going to let you do the 3.
Okay, so there's 3 strategic things I would say. First, know who you are. So as I was saying, a lot of times people now will get a free account and they don't really put that much thought into what they're putting out there. They just pick a couple of photos that happen to be on their iPhone and then they're off and running.
Okay.
And I like to have my clients decide how they want to be portrayed, how the person viewing their profile would perceive them. And so it is a very strategic, it's a branding approach in a way.
Okay.
And I think it gets you much better results if you know who you are and how you're projecting yourself into the online dating space.
Okay.
The second
So
thing.
hold on.
Uh-oh.
Now we're
You
going to
know,
apply. We're going to apply. We're going to apply
Okay.
to make this really relevant.
Okay.
You know me. You don't know me super, super well, but you know me pretty well. Okay. So I'm your client. Okay.
Yes.
We're doing a quick consult here.
Okay.
So, not admitting that I was on Tinder. I was for a little while. I'm not anymore. So here's okay, dear Mrs. D, I thought about your question, know who I am. So I know who I am. I'm a fun-loving, you only live once, adventurous, and I still have a little homebody side of me. I'm very, obviously, achievement-oriented. I am very, very attracted to success. Actually, that answers doesn't answer. That answers the second.
That was
question.
actually the second question.
Second question. I had a feeling. Yeah.
What you want.
So, and I have, I have a pretty public life on the air. The consulting practice, the teaching practice, the coaching practice, the speaking practice, the travel practice. So the TV commentary practice. So that's who I am. And I'm also a mom, 2 teens, and I love my life. And I know it's a lot, right? So when I go to put pictures up, Dr. Pat Allen would say, don't put the radio pictures up. Don't put the TV commentator pictures up. Don't, just be a woman don't promote the success, don't promote the work. Okay. Agree, disagree? If I have 5 pictures?
I would not make your whole profile about your work.
Okay.
But if it's something that is a part of you in your life, like someone cannot come into your life and not be a part of everything that you've created.
Okay.
So it's something that I wouldn't shy away from, but I wouldn't put it up there as. Let me clarify. Okay. A lot of times, women create profiles that that show themselves the way that a man would try to attract a woman. A man attracts a woman by showing he has resources, by showing he's successful, by showing all the things that he's amassed, and that is not what traditionally attracts a man to a woman. He wants to be nurtured. He wants to know she's kind and loving. And so it's a part of your world, but it's not everything about you. And it's not you don't want to have every picture to show that side. You want to have a well-rounded profile that shows different aspects of your personality.
So me scuba diving, me on the air, me doing Tai Chi, meditating, me not with my daughters, me, just a...
You remember that from last
yes,
time?
I did. I'm a good student. Me in a shorter skirt, me with a little cleavage. So that's what I have.
But is having a little cleavage on brand for you when we're talking from a branding perspective? And then when we look at part 2, who do you want to attract?
Okay. So before we even get to number 2, my fundamental philosophical issue with even who I am and who I present is you don't want to do too much because you don't want them to be intimidated or you don't want them to back off. And for me, it's like, no, I want a man who's not intimidated. So I want to put all of who I am and have them go, I want her.
Well, here's the thing. You should not have a profile that shies away from being who you are. And if they're intimidated by your profile, you better believe when they meet you in person, they're going to be even more intimidated. So you want to advertise what you're going to be like so that you can weed out the losers that are not going to cut it when you come to the date.
Yeah.
But there's a difference in celebrating all of these things as aspects of your life and using them as an attractor of, look at my fabulous celebrity life. And that if you're using that as an attractor, it's using it in the way that a man would say, look at my Lamborghini. I make a lot of money. Don't you want to be in my party? Don't you want to be in my harem? And the answer to that is no. I mean, what kind of Lamborghini? No,
Yeah. What year?
1971.
Okay, so you're saying a balanced representation of who I am.
And also, you don't want to give too much information at the beginning. And I think a lot of people get tripped up in the profile. They think it's like their Facebook page, and they put every picture that shows every, here's what I ate for dinner, and here's me and my dog, and here's where I went on vacation the last 7 years.
Right.
Too much information, it's overload. You want to have just enough information that tells someone, hey, Marissa is somebody that I like, and I'd like to get to know her.
That's
it.
contrary to, time is the most precious commodity I have. So it's like, here it is, here it is. And if you can't handle it, then I don't have the time or patience to go back and forth.
Those questions will be answered as you get to know someone. But if you saw everything in somebody's profile, you might find them attractive, but then you'll find something that makes you discount them. And I see this all the time with women. They'll go through looking for a reason to knock a guy out of the running. And so we have to flip the page and look at it from, how am I putting myself out there? If you put too much information that gives somebody
TMI.
a reason to turn off, that maybe it's not the best system for you.
But then it's a waste of time to meet someone, and if you had known that from the beginning, then
this is why it feels like work, because if you approach the date as it potentially being a waste of time, it is going to feel like work and like drudgery, and it won't be a process that you enjoy. If you can keep those first dates short and sweet, just an hour is all
short,
you really need.
maybe not necessarily sweet.
Well, short, and you'll know if it's sweet or not. But all you need is an hour when you're moving offline.
That's a long time.
Maximum.
Okay.
It's so funny because a lot of people say to me, an hour? That's not possibly enough. And inevitably everyone has a story. Well, my ex-boyfriend, I spent 17 hours on our first date. And there are always exceptions to the rule. But generally, when your time is precious, as everyone's is, you want to pre-screen before you get to the date. And this is the third point. I'm already getting to the third point.
Okay.
Move offline as quickly as possible.
I'm just trying to figure out how to rewind so I don't sound like such a bee here.
No, you don't. But your time is valuable. I actually have a necklace I wear a lot of the time that's an hourglass to remind my clients that your time is precious. It's the most valuable resource that you have. It's something that you'll never get back.
Exactly.
So you do want to choose wisely, but look at each of those dates as an education for you about who you want to meet. Right. And getting you closer to your match, even if that person is not the right person. And then you've gotten to hear somebody else's story, maybe gotten a little perspective on something. And if it's short and sweet, then you move on to the next. Right. And it's good practice for when the right person does come along.
Okay. And there's more where that came from. We're going to be right back for the rest of the show with more of Damona Hoffman, her dating tips, her trying to knock some sense into me here on Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa on the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. So that is where you are. That's where you're tuned into. And as promised, we're going to continue with my delightful spotlight interview with Damona Hoffman, who is dating coach on Drew Barrymore show right now. So enjoy.
Okay, so that's the third. That's the third. Okay. So know who I am, listeners. So the 3 steps: know who I am, know what I want, right? And then
Get offline as quickly as possible.
get offline as quickly as possible.
Because if you stay online too long, you start to develop an idea of this person that you're about to meet,
Yeah.
and they can never match up to the expectation that's in your head. Even if they're great, they still are not going to be
That's
exactly
a
who you
good point.
pictured.
That's a very good point, because our imagination is better than reality sometimes.
And sometimes it's just different than reality.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I mean, even when I met my husband online
Yeah.
way before online dating was cool. And
It's cool.
he had it's cool now.
Is it cool now? Okay.
But he had sort of an edgy look in his profile. I always went for the bad boy. But I was doing a plan I called Operation Date Nice Guys. You always have to have a plan to find your man.
Oh, okay.
So with Operation Date Nice Guys, he walks in and he didn't look like an edgy bad boy at all. He had like a wool sweater and a button-down shirt and Banana Republic pants. And I was like, oh, he looks so nice. I got to find
Darn it.
somebody to set him up with. And then I said, no, you're doing Operation Date Nice Guys. Give this guy a chance. And really, over time, he was able to open up to me, and I got to see who he really was.
So he
And-
was a bad guy.
No, he's still a nice guy. That's funny. No, I realized that you don't want the bad boys.
You don't want the bad
and
boys.
the nice
Yeah.
guys are the ones that'll be there for you
Yeah.
for the test of time.
Okay, so let's go back to step 2, my consultant for the hour.
Okay.
My coach for the hour. It's not often that I actually listen, so you get a chance to get at me.
This
okay?
is very special
I
for
know
me.
it is. Yes, believe me, not many people get this chance. So give it to me. So what's wrong? Okay, so I hear what's wrong with my presentation. Less is more. Okay, so I'm gonna, if I
5
ever
pictures.
go back.
That's really all you need.
Okay, if I go back into it, I will do that.
If / when.
I'm going to be like your long-term clinical project. Okay,
5 years from now, Dr. Marissa.
She's coming back on the show because
No.
it ain't working.
No, because you're going to do the plan, and then it's going to happen so fast, your head's going to spin, and then you'll come on my show and tell me how great your new love is and how all of your romantic dreams have come true.
Don't hold your breath. Okay, so what I'm looking for, okay? I think that what I want is my biggest turn on is success. So if they're successful, okay, they don't have to. I mean, it's not like an accumulation of millions and millions of dollars, because I want them to be generous as well, and I want them to be creative. So that's circulating money and investing and investing in projects, maybe some of mine. So like different, but I want them to have that drive. Something I really want to look at them and go, oh wow. Like I just absolutely respect the heck out of them.
You want someone who's on your level, which is fair.
Okay.
Which you should.
Okay.
But you're not looking for a business partner.
But I'm not
do
looking
wanna
for
clarify
no. I'm not looking for a business partner. But what happens is, because I do this, okay, I get the looking for the graduate, so, and there's no part of the word cougar that is anywhere attractive to me, and I don't want to be a cougar, and I don't want to pay for the guy. I did that already once, and I don't want to, I just, and that level is not necessarily, I don't want to say it's not possible. I believe in the power of words. So I'm going to say that there are many men that have those qualities and have those qualifications. I did try a little stint on Millionaire Match, and that didn't go anywhere, and because I got both the opposites. And then I even tried Coffee Meets Bagel, just because I went from Tinder, which was, and it's my niece's fault. Like every time she finds out I'm single, she grabs my phone and then downloads one of those.
Starts swiping.
Yes. So I went from right on Tinder to you only get one a day. On so the extreme, it was just, but the caliber was higher on Coffee Meets Bagel as far as, if I said I wanted education, they gave me education. If I said I wanted, a certain profession or whatever, they gave it to me. So that was good. I didn't have to do as much work, but they ran out. They literally ran out of options for me.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, so that went off. And
but there could be new options there by now. It is one of the fastest growing dating apps. So
Yeah.
I don't know when you tried it, but it is continuing to grow.
I took it off about a month ago, and I was on it for
maybe
like
not yet.
3 months. They didn't even have give and takes. Like I would press the give and take button, and they're, we're looking for the perfect give and take match for you. And I started getting ones that, were pictures, and they're interested in men. And I go, now how did I get on that list? But it's the give and take option where you can refer them to friends. I guess they thought I had some gay friends, which I do, but you have to pay beans to be able to do things. So
need some coffee beans.
Yeah. So after that, I thought, we're just going to go back to the old-fashioned way, which is I'm back to not looking. I'm back to I don't, everything wonderful that has come into my life. Yes, I've done some work towards, but I'm an extension of a friendly universe, and so when it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and I don't have to put this on my to-do list. So counter, because I go back and
happen magically and miraculously. It hasn't yet, but it possibly could. But you have to prioritize finding love amongst the other things in your life. And sometimes people come to me and I'm like, this might not be the right time for you. Like, this is the time for you to focus on your career or focus on your kids, and that's fine. But
that's been like 9 years though. So
that's what kind of made me cringe was when you said, I've just given up and I'm just, I'm just not looking. And it's this idea of being on the hunt that is exhausting. But if there was a way to say, like, I'm opening to the universe to bring me
I've been open for 9 years.
And taking actions that are in alignment with that. Yeah. And, online dating is one of my favorite methods, but it's by no means the only thing that I have my clients do. And actually, on Black Love, I got 10 weeks to work with this group of women who are all like you, very successful, very, very strong, very, very good at everything in their life, and just haven't found the right person. They're all in New York City, which is its own animal for dating.
Right.
But there are different modes that you can use if online dating isn't working for you that can still bring you to that place. So adopting an attitude of yes, I call it, by saying yes to the things that you otherwise would say no to, the opportunities that you might have to meet someone of a like mind, and seeking out those real world meetings and opportunities to connect. You're giving me a face, Dr. Marissa.
Well, you want to here it is. Here it is. Here's my defense. So, because there have been many shows where I have been the biggest cheerleader for romance and relationships. So anyone who's been with me for the past 180 weeks of shows knows that there was a time when I was the absolutely number one cheerleader in saying there's nothing like romance. Romance is the best thing since sliced bagels, because you can't get that feeling from your mother, your father, your kids, your friends, that it's a whole separate animal and it's a wonderful animal. And even if it's sometimes like the wide world of sports, remember those, the opening of those, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, right?
Yeah.
Even though dating can be like that, it's so worth it. And I've said that so strongly and so convincingly, and I convince myself about it. And then I'll go out there and I'll, date, and it's like, it just, maybe, I do everything once. I was married, divorced, I'm done. So that's kind of where I am. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering why I keep laying out my love laundry, you are listening to Sexual Healing with Dr. Marissa, my monthly series on Take My Advice. I'm not using it, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, and I'm happy and glad to have returning to my studio, Damona Hoffman, who is also better known as Mrs. D.
You can just call me Damona now.
Damona now? Oh, okay. You don't want to do Mrs. D anymore?
No, it can just be Damona.
Okay.
I have a brand new website, DamonaHoffman.com.
There you go. That's why. Okay, Damona
No one can
Hoffman.
spell it, but you'll put up a lower third.
H-O-F-F-M-A-N?
Yeah, well, it's the Damona.
The Damona. All right.
D-A-M-O-N-A.
Okay. But we are at that point, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the other things you're doing when we come back. But we're going to take a little break to thank the sponsors who make this show possible. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
How do you prepare a young teen for the sexual culture they're growing up in today? Science teacher Dave Beck's hilarious and harrowing book, They Asked You What?, does just that. It gives the student, their parents, and teachers the knowledge and tools to deal with the reality of today's overwhelmingly sexual American culture. And it's a great, fun, thoughtful read. Read it yourself. Give it to your teen and/or their teachers. Available for Kindle download and softcover purchase at Amazon.com.
Signature fragrance, created for the holidays. Gary Akunzi produces boutique scents containing 100% essential oils from Europe, free of chemicals and alcohol. One of his popular creations, Transylvania Night's Treasure, is a signature fragrance with flower scents indigenous to the actual land of Transylvania. To order, email Europe's Best at sfs.com. All righty, we are back. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. And it's Tuesday, so I'm out of Universal Broadcasting Network, Sunset Gower Studios. And we have Damona Hoffman, formerly known as Mrs. D, with us. She is dating coach extraordinaire. She's doing a TV dating therapy for 4 Black successful, strong women like me, 5, on a show in New York. What else are you doing?
Well, I have this new website, DamonaHoffman.com, and I have a lot of exciting stuff there for singles in how they can navigate modern dating dilemmas. And then I'll be back on UBN starting next week.
Yay!
December 2nd.
December 2nd. And what time's your show?
It's Wednesdays at 11 a.m.
All right.
From now until the end of time.
That's great. And until the end of time. I
had
know,
to take
really?
a little break for filming the TV show since it was in New York. But now I'm back and I'm excited.
I'm glad to have you back. We're glad to have you back.
I love me some UBN.
UBN bosom. So what are the dating dilemmas?
Oh, there are so many. Where do we begin?
Let's talk about someone else now.
It was getting a little too hot in here for you, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so you said people text too long, they stay too long on, and then they have an image of someone. What about, because I do get people who say, I want to get to know you more and I want to talk to you more. And my response is, let's just meet for a chemistry test first, and we can
Dr.
talk
Marissa,
there.
do you call it a chemistry test?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
What's wrong
Way
with
to suck the
chemistry?
romance out of the room. You're all peace and love.
I am. I just want to get to the point of the
Well,
piece.
I know that's the point. Remember, it's branding. So how are you like branding that meeting?
Well, let's I'm branding the meeting as okay.
What do you do?
Hold on.
Yeah,
hold
okay.
on. Okay, I got to say this
Say it.
because chemistry is outside. Okay, so the success factor turns me on.
Oh yeah.
Chemistry is not something that you can overlook, right? You have you have to have chemistry.
However, I believe that real chemistry
Yes.
develops over time. I don't believe in love at first sight. I believe in lust at first sight. So you might develop an attraction for someone that is not immediately apparent on the first date. Now, of course, if you don't find them, they're not successful, they're not at all attractive to you,
Right.
then that one's, one for the for the experience book,
Right.
for the experience log.
Right.
But I like to say if there's something interesting about that person, if there's something you want to know more about, if you could see yourself spending one more hour with that person, give them a second hour. And I have actually a 3-date rule. So if you still feel that way at the end of the second date, give them a third. If the chemistry doesn't develop by the third date, then usually it's not meant to be. But a lot of times people aren't themselves on the first date. And I know you want to give it all up front, but you have to give them the space to open up to you as well.
What about the people who say, I'm not saying who's saying this. What about the people who say you either feel something or you don't feel something? And if you don't feel something, you're never going to feel something.
I say you'll feel something.
I don't know
you have
who
to
would
feel
say that.
something. But I think a lot of people confuse lust with love or chemistry.
Okay.
There's a difference in somebody, and I coach people who are looking for a long-term partner. So if you're just trying to roll in the hay, go on Tinder, go on, not you. Remember,
Okay,
we're not talking about you right now.
Yeah, that's right. Dang,
But if your listeners just want to roll in the hay, they should go for immediate attraction. But
Okay.
if they're looking for a long-term commitment, they should be focusing on some other qualities. And
You're not saying that long-term relationships don't have the attraction factor, are you?
no, of course
Okay.
not. Of course not.
So-
If it hasn't developed by the third date, and you will have something attractive. But like for my husband, I thought he was really cute. Remember, I thought he was too nice for me.
Yeah.
But my thing was I wanted somebody who was smart. And I felt like all the guys I were going out with were
Dumb.
dumb as a doornail. And
Not the brightest crayon in the box.
he was the first guy I went out with where I said, I'm like running to catch up with this guy.
Right.
And so it was really the smart factor that kept me coming back for more. And then after a while, I was like, I'm ravenously attracted to him.
Okay.
But that wasn't the first thing I thought the minute he walked in the door. And if I had shut it down from the beginning, and this has happened with a lot of my clients in the past as well. If you shut it down right at the beginning because you don't feel this nebulous chemistry butterflies thing that you can't even put your finger on, you can't describe it. If you can't describe it, maybe it's not real.
Yeah, but it feels real. It feels
That's
real.
lust. That's what lust feels like.
Okay. All right. So if I were to start dating again, then that would be, Dr. Pat says the same thing, 3 dates. And she calls it duty dating. I'm sure you've heard her say that. And it's like, I just can't imagine if I don't feel an attraction in the first date, why I would go on 2 more dates.
But there's something that you're attracted to.
Okay,
Whether
but
it's his
if there's
mind, his success, his big heart that, maybe he's very charitable and you're very excited about that and you like talking about what he does with all of this money that he makes. Mm-hmm. And then on the second date, you're like, oh, I kind of see him a little differently. Like that's never happened to you where you've been on a date and then suddenly the tone changed and you're like, oh, I could kind of date this person.
No.
Okay.
I swear. I swear it's never
we need
happened.
to slow you down.
know what?
Then.
Well,
I know
I
time-
think it's
time
not
isn't-
happened because I've not allowed the second date.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that if you don't do the second
That's
date.
true.
But
That's
for me, it's I keep saying it's not fair to go on a second date if you know you're not attracted to them on the first, right? You're wasting, I don't want them. And I love it when they are romantic or chivalrous and they pay for the meal, and that's wonderful. But then I don't want them to do the same thing at the second. And I don't necessarily want to say, I'll take care of it, because I don't think there's an attraction. I'm not being a bit. I'm not being a B. I'm
not saying you're being a B.
I can feel the eyes on me from the listening audience.
No, they don't think they're your fans. They don't think you're being a B. They want you to have a great partner that matches you and meets you in greatness. So I would say just try it. If you haven't done it before, why not try it?
Because I did talk to another dating coach who she was one of my guests as well. She runs a Beverly Hills matchmaker service. And I asked her, I said, honestly, someone like me, your clients, are they looking for someone like me? And she goes, no. And she has all of the successful,
she has this successful. I mean, I don't know who she is. They're not looking for someone like me. And that is a limiting belief, and I'm not even going to allow it. I'm not even going to allow it in this room, because that's a specific subset of guys who are probably paying her tens of thousands of dollars to connect with women that they really have no other means of connecting with them other than online dating. So,
but she's talking about what they're looking for, and what they're looking for, and I have it on
that
tape.
subset of guys. That is what that subset of guys is looking for.
Okay,
but it's a specific kind of guy that goes to a matchmaker. Mm-hmm. It's a huge investment. Mm-hmm. So usually they have a lot of money and they're looking for something very specific, and they haven't been able to find it in their everyday life because they are interfacing with a different type of woman.
But that's my point.
But there's a whole other set of guys that are looking for someone like you who wouldn't pay a matchmaker tens of thousands of dollars because they have people like you in their circle, when they go to charity events, when they go to you were talking about your graduate program, mm-hmm. when they go to alumni functions, they have the women they want to meet in their circle. So they don't see the need to pay a matchmaker to make those connections for them because they're dating in their circle.
Okay. I will drop the limiting BS belief system and
not even going to allow it in here. Okay. No, I'm going to allow it.
I love her. I love you. That's why you're here. Okay. So I've now knocked out. I put moose on the table on two things: the romance, too much work, and the attraction factor. Oh, three things, and then what men want. Which is not me in that, and that's BS. So we're going to drop that one. All right.
Those men don't you don't want to meet those men anyway.
Okay.
I'm sure they're lovely, but not for you. Well, and that's the thing about dating and online dating is it's dating on speed. And it's great
Tinder
for someone who is who
is a cross between speed dating and what would I used to call that? Speed dating and Candy Crush.
I think that's what they intended it to be.
Yeah.
But it's things are just happening so fast in this modern world, and so I like to give people the tools that they need to catch up with the speed of dating today, and so that's why on DamonaHoffman.com it's all about modern dating. Like I just did a training that anybody listening can access there on the site about texting and dating, because this is where I'm finding a lot of people are getting stuck. Okay. Now you're like knocking them out after the first date, so you don't even have to worry about the texting. But sometimes people say too much over text before they even get to the first date, and then they find that they don't have anything to talk about, or the person has been turned off, or the person doesn't even show up because they've developed this idea that they're close because they said all these things, and really they were just saying it into a piece of technology. So we got to learn to communicate again, face to face.
But that brings up another moose on the table, which is there's poster that says the reason why I'm single is I recognize crazy really well. So if a person is crazy enough to put their life story or TMI on a text, isn't it better to find that out at the beginning? Like you don't want to
sometimes
fake it. You are who you are. And if you're going to do that, you need a little coaching maybe.
I think a lot of people need the coaching though, because now
No, I'm not
that's the
talking about your
go-to.
kind of coaching.
Oh.
I'm talking about life
Your
balance
kind
kind
of
of coaching.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say about these guys that are not right for you. You want to turn off the men that are not a match. You want the people that are going to see the unique, quirky side. I talk about the 3 C's of profile photos. You want to
Okay.
have color because you're showing up in a lineup. That's strategic. So you want to jump off the page.
Okay.
You want to have context and showing what your life is about. That's like the scuba diving picture you were talking about. And you want to have character. That's when you show the quirky, unusual, maybe a little nerdy, maybe not you, just people out there. For me, it was like me with my glasses and the nerdier side of me that attracted my super smart husband. So it's that thing that made him see my picture, see my profile and say, she's exactly right for me. And it probably turned off 20 other guys because they were like, oh, she's not like glamorous enough, whatever, she's wearing glasses.
Please
She's
tell
nerdy.
me you tell the guys not to have pictures of a dog kissing them on the lips. Please.
Would you believe that has never come up?
Well,
And if you'd like to hear the rest of that fabulous interview, please go free subscribe to my YouTube channel where you'll get an alert every morning at 8 when a new show drops, because I want you to be happy 88% of the time. Why not 100? Because 100% of the time, if you're happy, you're dead. So we want a little contrast, and certainly relationships and all the great advice that Damona gave will help you with that. Okay? And that's it for show number 562. But who's counting? Here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, who is reporting live from my living room during the pandemic, hoping that you remember that it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace, and have the best day ever.